Hello class, welcome to another lesson. Imagine you're running and feel your chest rise and fall faster. Ever wondered why? Well, breathing isn't just something we do. It's our body's way of staying alive. Today, we'll explore the world of the respiratory system. Before that, let's review what we learned in our previous class. In our last class, we discussed the mechanisms of transportation in plants. We also explored the processes that aid transportation in plants. Now, let's look at the lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to 1. Define the respiratory systems. 2. Explain the types of respiratory systems. 3. List the characteristics of the respiratory surface. What happens to your body when you hold your breath? When you hold your breath, your body starts to experience a buildup of carbon dioxide in the blood because you're not exhaling it. This means that respiration is important. Now, what is respiration? Respiration is the biological process through which living organisms break down glucose or other food molecules to release energy, either in the presence or absence of oxygen. In mammals, oxygen is breathed in, and it breaks food substances to release energy. There are two types of respiration. These are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is the type of respiration that requires oxygen to break down glucose into water, carbon dioxide, and energy. Then, anaerobic respiration is the type of respiration that does not require oxygen to provide energy. Now, let's move on to the respiratory systems. The respiratory systems are the biological structures and mechanisms that allow the living organisms to take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide, enabling them to produce energy and sustain life. All living things need oxygen, but how they get it depends on their structure and environment. We will look at the different types of respiratory systems. There are 5 types of respiratory systems. These are 1. Body surface respiration. 2. Cutaneous respiration. 3. Gills. 4. Tracheal system. 5. Lungs. Let's look at the body surface respiration. In this type of respiration, gas exchange occurs directly through the body's surface. The organism's outer body acts as the respiratory surface, allowing oxygen to diffuse into the body and carbon dioxide to diffuse out. This type of respiratory system can be found in flatworms and earthworms. Next is cutaneous respiration. This is a specialized form of body surface respiration where gas exchange happens through the skin. The skin must remain moist for gases to dissolve and diffuse efficiently. This can be found in some organisms like frogs, salamanders, etc. In these organisms, skin serves as the respiratory organ. Let's move on to the gills. Gills are specialized organs for gas exchange in water. Oxygen is extracted from water as it passes over thin filaments within the gills, which are richly supplied with blood vessels. This kind of respiratory system is found in fish, crabs, and other aquatic animals. Let's look at the tracheal system. It is a system of air-filled tubes that directly transport oxygen to cells and tissues without the need for blood to carry gases. Air enters through small openings called spiracles on the body surface. This is found in insects like grasshoppers, bees, and ants. Next is the lungs. Lungs are internal organs where gas exchange occurs between inhaled air and blood. Oxygen is absorbed into the bloodstream, and carbon dioxide is expelled through exhalation. This is found in mammals like humans, birds, and many more. Let's explore the characteristics of respiratory surfaces. Respiratory surfaces, be it in plants or animals, must have the following characteristics. 1. Respiratory surfaces must be moist because gases diffuse in solution through them. 2. It must have an adequate supply of transport medium, like blood. 3. It must have a large surface area to aid the easy diffusion of gases. That is it for this lesson. Please attempt the following classwork. 1. Define respiration and the respiratory systems. 2. Name the 5 types of respiratory systems. 3. State 2 characteristics of the respiratory surfaces. Now, let's review what we've learned today. In today's class, we defined respiration and the respiratory systems. We discussed the 2 types of respiration. And we also explored the 5 types of respiratory systems. Finally, we looked at the characteristics of the respiratory surfaces. In our next class, we will look into the mechanisms of respiratory system in some organisms. Thanks for your time. See you in our next class.